Now, yesterday we heard from the American Chamber of Commerce. Today, Chris Nelson of the British Chamber of Commerce will weigh in on investor expectations for next week's State of the Nation address, that and how the shifting political landscape in the UK will impact trade ties between our two countries.
And the work that we've been doing to bring in particularly, obviously, meat, pork supplies, I think will be focused in terms of fight against inflation. And that's obviously going to be an encouragement to investors. In terms of legislation, and I'll come to the priority bills that have also been outlined by different business groups, but the three bills that we've looked to get signed, and we think they're being close to proclaim, that, of course, is the Anti-Agricultural Economic Sabotage Bill, the Anti-Financial Account Scamming Bill, and followed closely by that is the cybersecurity. These are the 21 priority bills. We look at, first of all, the liberalization and ownership. We support all that in terms of obviously higher for foreign equity investors. That would be a great encouragement. E-Commerce Act, digital payments, all of this we think will be very highly supportive and would give close signals to foreign investors of movements in the Philippines.
All right, because I guess that's what I want to know. You know, what would entice the big investors to get off the sidelines? What's it going to take to get them off the sidelines? Because if you look at the historical data, apparently many of these investors have been on the sidelines for years. If you look at our FDI, we continue to lag our peers.
Well, look, I think in that context, if you look at the work hard to bring SMEs here, we've worked very closely with the British Embassy, with the business and trade section. And you mentioned, of course, developments in the UK. We now have a new Secretary of Business and Trade, and he wants to champion UK exports and with particularly strong support to SMEs. In terms of FDI, we've got to, obviously, as we've emphasized before in our discussions, we're competing with other areas across in Southeast Asia. So we need to keep focusing on further opening up the economy. That's why liberalizing the economy, allowing higher foreign ownership, but also the agriculture area for us. And has been.
We're going to be watching for those three bills that you mentioned that you guys are pushing for in particular. You did say, Chris, I remember several times, your tagline is always, when the UK business segment looks at the Philippines, we are the gateway to Southeast Asia. Are we expecting any shifts in the way the UK, for example, transacts with its trade partners, given that you have major changes on your home court? You've got a new government, the Labour Party's Starmer has already promised, of course, a blitz of policies that they promise will jolt the UK economy, which, by the way, exited recession in the Q1 of this year, continued to grow in May. Without asking for any miracle, what potential reforms are you expecting from your new leadership that can support medium-run economic growth? And how do you see that impacting, our relationship, the Philippines and the UK?
So, as you're right, the UK election was the 4th of July. Labour won with a very strong mandate. President Keir Starmer has been very clear that growth is on their agenda. They plan to establish a national wealth fund. They want to focus on certain key areas, supply chain, obviously in terms of energy, green energy. I think in terms of the Philippine outlook, President Marcos has already said he sees a deepening, strengthening. This is the 78th year of relations between the two countries. Trade relations are at its highest ever at 2.8 billion. We have very close connections. And I believe strongly that the UK sees the Philippines as an excellent trading partner. On top of that, if the Philippines continues to grow, let's not forget the population here is very talented. We have close to 120 million people. So therefore, I think this is a great opportunity. And we at the Chamber are looking through that. I would like to highlight that we'll have our great British Festival will now be on the 19th and 20th of October, actually coinciding with Philippine-UK Friendship Day. So that's very good timing. And look, last time, which was last year, we had over 50,000 visitors, 38 participating companies, and clearly working closely with the British Embassy, with the business and trade section, we anticipate that growing even more. So very high hopes, and I think this government is very focused, the new government in the UK, on growth. And as I said, the Secretary of Business and Trade, Jonathan Reynolds, who's just newly appointed, has emphasized championing UK exports is one of his key priorities.
Are we expecting new priority areas in the export space, aside from, cybersecurity, energy, and pork?
Well, pork has always been here. I have to mention that because, of course, this is the second largest market in Asia after China for pork exports from the UK. And we do have an event coming up on the 30th of July at WOFEX, the World Food Exhibition, along with our partners from the Horticultural Development Board. And we've seen continuing strong growth. I mean, up by 20% year to date. And that's also helping with the fight against food inflation. Do we see more? And I think the UK is a leader in obviously energy, which is obviously going to be a key factor. I saw the report about obviously the solar panels. The UK has been a leader in that. And it will be looking also at what Ireland can do in terms of infrastructure. The UK clearly sees the 59th in terms of overall trading relations, but we see that growing and continuing to grow. And we're working, as I said, in our areas, particularly with the SMEs in terms of food and drink. And obviously, as we've discussed on many occasions, the food exports from the UK continue to grow. And they will be here working and meeting food importers and having an event on the 30th of July in the Philippines.
You're going to be very busy, Chris. You did talk about infrastructure because the Labour Party's main proposal packages included three things. You mentioned the two earlier. That's a national wealth fund. Plus, they're going to do a publicly owned energy company, GB Energy, that's going to be established by the government. And they want to have to change Britain's planning system to make it easier to build infrastructure and to build new homes. The party said infrastructure is one. How about the arts? The arts and culture, Chris. I was going over some reports about our ties, and I read about the British Council in the Philippines, which, by the way, just celebrated their 45th year in relations. They're also launching a new Connected Through Culture program for the Philippines. How is the Chamber related, if at all, to the British Council, and how do you work together? Not just in trade, but in culture ties.
Sure, we're very closely related. We're very pleased. So Lotus Prostrado, who runs the British Council, is actually an ex officio member of ties. We discussed, and we had obviously tourism, the continuing increase in Philippines, and of course vice versa. We have a lot of tourists and Filipinos who go to visit the UK. And let's not forget, estimated there are approximately 200,000 Filipinos living in the UK. So this is continuing to strengthen those ties, and UK culture is there. And we commend all the efforts and work of the British Council, and we look forward to working with them on the festival, which will be coming up in October.
All right. We are very close indeed. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next month.
Thank you very much, and have a good day to all you and all your viewers.
All right. Now, here's a quick look at the flash business headlines from overseas. Donald Trump